NBA opening day. It's here. We did it. But we got a few more drafts to do. Draftapalooza, if you will, here at Spike Week. I got 5 DraftKings NBA best ball drafts left to do. We're going to do those here today. Lead us up into opening day. Maybe look at some exposures. Maybe look at the opening night games. We're going to get ready. We're excited for NBA, but we got a couple drafts left to do. Let's do it. All right, guys, I told you yesterday I had like 70 DraftKings NBA best ball drafts left to do if I wanted to make it to 150. It didn't seem realistic at the time, but we're at 145 now. We got 5 left. 5 left to go, and I'm very excited. We have some very wild exposures. Let's take a look at those super quickly before we hop into our last few drafts. I think we got a little bit. I will say the goal this morning was to be able to draft on all 3 sites, on Underdog, on Drafters, but they filled. It's a great sign for the NBA streets, I will say, that we're filling these tournaments. DraftKings is definitely going to fill. It is currently sitting at, I should have had this pulled up. I apologize. Currently sitting at 27,500 out of 29,300. That will fill today at some point. I'm not exactly sure when, but drafts are firing, right? And we got 8.5 hours or so before the games, before the contest locks, right? Before games get going a little bit later. So the double dribble on Underdog already filled. Maybe we can take if we finish up these drafts, which we'll multi-table some of these drafts. I'm currently autoing some drafts as we speak right now. We can look ahead a little bit to opening night and see what we got going on there. Maybe build out even a pick'em slip or something like that. But Drafters also is full now? Question mark. Drafters is almost full. It is at 5,500. So there's 1 remaining draft left, 2, I guess. The second to last draft on Drafters is filling right now as we speak. And then there will be one and only one more draft. If you want to get in over on Drafters, there's 11 spots left, 1 room left, as Bernie says, over on Drafters. So that is about fill. Seriously, what an awesome sign for the NBA streets, right? That we're going to fill all of these tournaments. DraftKings does have their $444 tournament that's only a half full. So if you're into the high stakes spaces, it is $100,000 prize pool with $30,000 to first place. May have to see if we'll dabble over there later this afternoon. They also have they have a $52 tournament that's also got some entries, but it's only 432 spots. So anyway, great day. It's a wonderful day all around for the NBA. Let's take a quick look at some of my exposures. This is just DraftKings because I totally screwed the pooch and whiffed on exactly where the double dribble on Underdog was going to be at. So I only got 65 teams. We can look over that. We can look at the difference. Here's my Underdog teams, right? So 65 double dribble teams over on Underdog, and my exposures are, quite similar, but also a little bit different, site to site. Cam Whitmore, right? So here's where I guess I should start. I take very big stances, especially in the NBA. I take them in all of these best ball sports, but especially in the NBA, where I think the market is ultimately kind of just wrong. Whether it be, I think Cam Whitmore is just a great overall bet. Same thing with like Nikola Jovic. Asar Thompson is like one of my favorite. The Pistons, quite frankly, are like one of my favorite examples of the combination of breakout potential, like for someone like Asar, a little bit also for Jalen Duren, and then combine it with the playoff schedule aspects. And like, I just think the prices are wrong, right? Like if you see over here, this is our draft IQ tool on Spike Week, where you can analyze all of your portfolio and player combinations and teams and exposures. We'll look at some of that, right? But you see Jalen Duren, I have ranked at 38 overall, and he goes about pick 51. And Asar I have at 49th overall, and he goes about pick 62. So naturally, I'm going to have a bunch of those guys, right? Really high on Kim Whitmore, Bryce Sensabaugh, Nikola Jovic, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to take really big stances. If we lose, we lose. If a guy gets hurt, he gets hurt. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. But I'm all jacked up, if you will. Really excited for a lot of these top exposure guys. That's how the top of my underdog exposure looks. Somewhat similar, as you mentioned, but a little bit more Asar than Whitmore actually on DraftKings. Just through like I said, I've done like 75 drafts in 24 hours. So there's a lot of autoing and stuff going on here. There's some nuances into roster construction, which we'll look at that in a second as well. Rocket Sauce asks, do you have a referral code for drafters? If you use code SPIKE, SPIKE, for first-time depositors, you will get a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. So if you use code SPIKE when you deposit, you deposit $100, you could deposit $10 and they'll give you $10 free. You could deposit $100 and they'll give you $100 free. If you deposit $200, you're still only going to get $100, but they'll give you up to $100 for free if you use code SPIKE. There's also you can use the link in the description of this video as well to find that. You know it. Shout out CJ. So a lot of obviously super, super heavy exposures going on here. The only couple guys that are like early-ish picks, I like to take very big stands on later round guys. As you see, Asar, going in the 80s, Cam Whitmore going in the 140s, Io in the 170s, Santi Aldama, et cetera, et cetera. Terrence Shannon is a last round pick, but Derek White is a guy. If you are a part of the Spike Week Discord, which of course link in the description, all that fun stuff. He was a guy. He's genuinely one of my favorite players in the NBA. I think he's also one of the most underrated players in the NBA, which is insane for an NBA champion with the accolades and the statistics and everything that he has. But the Celtics, given the state of the Eastern Conference, even with this current version of the Boston Celtics, I think they will remain competitive enough that they're not going to shut it down at the end of the year. That's just not in Joe Mazzulla's blood. Now, is it possible that the Celtics end up shutting it down because things don't break their way, right? Jaylen Brown is already hurt. If Derek White misses time, this is a disaster scenario for the Celtics. So I don't think that their intent is to shut it down. I think that they want to make the playoffs. I think they can make the playoffs, certainly the play-in. But I think that they want to try to get into the top 6. I think they want to see if they can hang around until Jason Tatum comes back at the end of the year. Will the injury gods and everything, play nicely with that? That remains to be seen. That's the difficult part for the Celtics. But if you've watched Derek White play, but also if you watched that, I mentioned this yesterday, if you watched some of the preseason games, specifically the last one with Derek White, he's just doing absolutely everything. He's the point guard. He's the leading scorer. He rebounds. He's incredible from a steals and blocks perspective. He is the engine to everything they're doing. Even with Jaylen Brown out there, Jaylen Brown will probably be, take the most shots amongst the Celtics. But Derek White is going to be a primary, if not he and Peyton Pritchard, the primary facilitators. Like I said, he rebounds. He can really shoot. He can score. He can really do it all. And he's going to have a chance. He's going to be like, if Jaylen Brown ever misses any time, and if the Celtics still win some games, Derek White's going to make an all NBA team, I think. I believe that he's that good. And so I have him ranked. I even moved him up a little bit on DraftKings since I've been autoing this. I have him ranked as basically a second round pick, and he goes, closer to 36th overall than 24th. So we have huge Derek White bags, and I feel pretty good about that. He has a decent enough playoff schedule that it's fine. And I think if you want to talk about like an advance rate monster, I just don't see how Derek White isn't like an absolute advance rate monster. He has historically played almost every game. You play every game until you don't, right? And LeBron has been playing tons of games throughout the course of, he's avoided the injury bug. And now, granted he's 40 years old, it's a little bit different, but I feel extremely excited for Derek White. We'll see how the Celtics season goes, but that was one of my only like early round, as you see, all my highest exposure guys, I have a bunch of guys above 30% here. But my only real early round stance was was Derek White. I did buy a whole bunch of Kobe White as he was falling with the injury news. He's going to be back in a couple of weeks. Like, I don't really care about the first couple of weeks of the season. That's what Derek White is for. And these other guys. You can also, we'll get to this in a second, with the Kobe Whites of the world, you can like plan for those first couple minutes. Like, just draft Ayo Dosunmu on your Kobe White team and it's fine, right? Ayo gets elevated, right? Josh Giddey gets an elevated role. Matas Buzelis gets an elevated role. It offsets a couple of missed weeks of Kobe White. He comes back, you get a discounted player. Like, again, I think he's like a 4th round value, if you will. Kobe White is on DraftKings, and he's now going, like, sometimes you'll get him at like pick 80, all because he's going to miss the first like 2 weeks of the season. That seems very, very silly. But another Piston, right? And Asar is like my bet of, like, I agree. Zach Lowe picked Asar to be most improved player this year. He would also be my pick, Asar Thompson. I think we saw, like, the Thompson twins are insane. They're 2 of the best athletes in the entire NBA. We saw what happened when Amen got, some extra runway to do some more stuff last year on the Rockets, and just the year of maturation on a good team with a good coach. I think Detroit is a very similar situation. And you think about the Pistons with Asar last year, right? He had the health issue in the offseason. So while Amen is working on his game, right, over the course of the summer, Asar last year could not do that. He missed the first 20-something games, if I recall correctly, of the season last year. And then he's working his way back, right? He's playing limited minutes. And we saw him play really well down the stretch. But by that point, the Pistons are good. It's Cade's show. Jaden Ivey had played well, right? Then they have Malik Beasley and Schroeder and Tim Hardaway and all this other, Tobias Harris, right? All this other stuff. Now they still have some of those guys, not all of them, but Jaden Ivey is already hurt. The Malik Beasley thing gone, right? Dennis Schroeder gone. There's going to be more opportunity for Asar Thompson, and he's had a fully healthy offseason. There no health issues. Full ramp up over the course of the offseason. He's completely stuffs. The beautiful thing about the Thompson twins is that, I draft like a Norm Powell, but Norm Powell better score 25 points in a game if you're going to have a useful fantasy score. Asar and Amen, they can score like 12 real life points and post a huge fantasy line because the steals and blocks are out of control. They're good rebounders. They're good passers. They are going to score efficiently. And if Asar takes a similar leap to like what Amen did, this price is ridiculous. Then you combine that with the playoff schedule, which is also where Jalen Duren comes in. By the way, Jalen Duren is 21 years old, ? I got to double check that really quickly. Yeah, Jalen Duren is in year 4 of the NBA at 21 years old. He was the youngest player in the NBA when he came into the league. So it feels like he's been around for a while, but he's still got right, he's 21. He's got so much room to grow. He's the same age as Jason Tatum. There's the opportunity for Jalen Duren to continue to grow his game. There's also potential for more opportunity for him in it, right? Again, no Jaden Ivey for a while, no Dennis Schroeder, some of that other stuff. And he's just an awesome fantasy producer as it is, one of the best rebounders in the league, one of the best finishers in the league. And again, if he continues to grow, then you combine those two guys with the playoff schedule, right? That's the Rockets stuff. The Rockets and the Pistons would have been targets anyway, right? Like, I have a bunch of these guys on drafters where the playoff schedule doesn't matter because they're good bets to just produce, right? If they stay the same skill level and role wise, they're still going to produce from a fantasy perspective. If they grow, right, as players and in their roles, they're absolute smashes. Then on DraftKings and on Underdog as well, you combine that with the fact that they have the best playoff schedules in the entire league. Like, just run straight to the podium, man. Just run straight to the podium, make the pick on the Detroit Pistons and the Houston Rockets. So you're going to see a lot of Rockets, a lot of Pistons, and then some of these other, of course, breakout bets. Lots of Celtics, lots of Wizards, a little too much Wizards and Jazz for my personal liking, but we got to go where the picks are. So these are kind of my guys above. Let's go above 25%. Asar Cam Whitmore. Let me get my face out of the way for the YouTubers. Asar, Cam Whitmore, Io DeSumo, just an absolute smash in my opinion. Even coming off the bench, but now we're going to get a little bit of runway with Kobe. Could the Bulls just say, let's not do this Isaac Okoro thing. Let's not do this. Like, we're not going to get stops anyway. Let's just play our best guys. If they play Josh Giddey, Kobe White, Io DeSumo, Matas Buzelis, and Nikola Vucevic, I don't know. They're going to score a lot of points. They're going to be playing 145 to 140 games, where they probably lose, but they're going to score a lot of points. Io's going to play plenty. And then, of course, if something happens to Josh Giddey, if Kobe White stays out for an extended period, if something happens to Buzelis, right? Anything. Io, just an absolute slam dunk. They do have 8 games. The Bulls have 8 games in the final. 6-6 in the quarters and the semis is not ideal, but 8 in the finals. Santi Aldama, Memphis, man, what a mess. But Aldama gets an extension. No Zach Edey. A lot of opportunity for Aldama. Terrence Shannon, another one of my breakout bets, if you will. It's possible he ends up being more of a real life breakout than a fantasy breakout, but I'm willing to in the last round, I'm willing to deal with, like, I just think he's a very good basketball player. And, if Anthony Edwards misses time or anything like that, I think we could see a nice big Terrence Shannon season. Talked about Derek White, talked about Jalen Dern, Jabari Smith Jr., another Rocket, right? Neemias Queta, another Celtic. I think he has officially cemented himself as a starting center for the Boston Celtics. I think he can produce from a fantasy perspective, and he's free. And DraftKings especially has some really difficult elements of putting your center room together. And so he fits with a lot of different structures. Kobe White, we talked about. Emmanuel Quickley, another one of my kind of like bounce back candidates. I wrote about that if you go to the website, or you just like Google Spike Week NBA core picks or whatever. Emmanuel Quickley is one of them. I think the Raptors are probably going to make the playoffs this year, and we're not going to get all the silliness. Quickley just needs to stay healthy, and he's going to be an absolute smash at this price. Nikola Jovic, another breakout bet from the Miami Heat. Keyshawn George, Washington Wizard, young player, right? Super duper cheap, and fills the forward spot late with a nice little playoff schedule that the Wizards have as well. Walter Clayton Jr., one of my Jazz bets. I'm a big fan of Walter Clayton, and I'm not a very big fan of Keontae George and Isaiah Collier. I think Clayton could be the guy down the stretch on a really, really terrible Jazz team, getting a bunch of minutes. And he was one of the best players in college basketball last year. Kyle Filipowski, another Jazz player, really good Summer League MVP, really solid fantasy producer when he's on the floor. How is it all going to shake out with the Jazz? Right? The Jazz and the Wizards are like, I don't know. This could go poorly. Right? This could definitely go poorly with any Wizards and Jazz exposure, but they have all sorts of opportunity. And if you draft the guys who can score fantasy points in this sort of chaotic scenario, it's totally worth it at cheaper prices. Last couple guys, Tari Eason, another Rocket, right? And Mitchell Robinson, Bryce Sensabaugh, another Jazz player. You see Pirtle up here, another Raptor, right? You kind of sense where my head is at in terms of kind of team level exposures, but also player archetype and everything. Anyway, let's get to, that's almost 20. That's enough. That's enough blabbering about the portfolio. I figure we would break down the portfolio super quickly before we got to do 5 drafts here, so we're probably going to multi-table a couple of these at a time. Now we can just have some fun, talk some ball. Yeah, White and Asar overs locked in for tomorrow. Says, oh, damn it, I keep sharing the wrong. Let's go to. What in the hell is going on with my? For some reason, my computer is not working with me here, but scores and odds. There we go. Okay. Looks like the best ball style drafts are filled up on drafters. Yeah, there was, we were, sorry if I wasn't clear earlier. There was only one draft left. You see here, 5,600 out of 56. There was only one room left at the top here is this drafters NBA best ball tournament. So it filled just a couple minutes ago. Let's see. Let's see what we got going on here. Okay, neither of those have filled yet, but we're 11 out of 12. Plenty of stuff to gamble on. We'll figure out some props. I agree with CJ. Let's look at. I don't want today's games. Go to tomorrow. Here we go. Let's go to tomorrow. Let's. Oh my God, I forgot. It's Celtics Sixers. Now Charlie on some Anthony Simons. Let's go to the props. Let's go check out Derek White. Let's see what we got going on here. Points for Derek White. 19. Come on. 19.5. What's PRA? Points, rebounds, and assists for Derek White. Oh my God. 31.5 against the Sixers. 31.5. Brother, he's going for 45. We'll be join the Discord. There is a channel in the Spike Week Discord called Bet Squad. It is behind the paywall. It is only $5 a month. If you don't want, if you don't want everything, I totally understand. If you don't want all the best ball tools and the rankings and all that kind of stuff, we got playoff best ball coming. We got drafters second half tournament coming. The third quarter is out there on Underdog. We'll have everything for anything you want to do in best ball later on in the season when we get to the NBA playoffs. It's my favorite form, like truly my favorite format of best ball, better than NFL and everything. NBA playoff best ball is an absolute ton of fun. If you want, we cover it all, right? You'll see a lot of other places that are like, okay, it's this much per month for this subscription. And then if you want the NBA thing, you got to pay this. And then, you want our betting package, you got to do this. And then you want MLB, you got to do, and it's like, enough, dude. Enough of the price gouging. $39.99 a month, $200 a year gets you absolutely everything at Spike Week. But again, if you would just like to join the Discord, hang out with all the other fellow sickos, we're sweating the NBA games. Last night we're sweating Monday Night Football and the baseball game. What a baseball game, by the way. Shout out to George Springer. It's just $5 a month to get in the premium parts of the Discord. You can join for free and get access to like the support channels and that kind of stuff. But in the Bet Squad channel, you bet your ass that there's going to be a bunch of stuff posted for, including today's, but specifically tomorrow's first big NBA slate. We will be rocking and rolling in the NBA betting channel. Let's see. All right. We filled up. Looks like let's see how this team autoed. Oof. I don't know that I love Shinga. Well, I'm pretty good at center on this team. This ain't bad. It built out 7 forwards when I started week at forward. Buzelis and Asar, Matherin, Giddey, Derek White. This is a good team. Walter Clayton. What's the guard sitch? Look, here comes Terrence Shannon. Yep. Okay. 103. Okay. We finished that one. We got the 101. We got the 103 and the 101. We're autoing this other team over here. No, we didn't. Why is it? Okay, we got the 107. Now DraftKings froze. Of course, DraftKings froze. Ay. God bless DraftKings.com. God bless AWS. I don't know if everyone saw AWS having outage problems yesterday, ruining. It tells you how much stuff runs on AWS nowadays, that AWS was down a little bit and like everybody's just sitting at home twiddling their thumbs because all their favorite websites and everything are broken. Yeah, let's see. I mean, Derek White, that's insane. 31.5. I gotta post that. Let's get in a third draft here really quick. And Dorito says he cashed in Showdown last night, so DK servers lit on fire. I will add to that. I faded on Sunday. Oh wow, we're filling fast. On the clock at the 107 filled. Okay, Shangun time again. At 24% Şengün. I faded Quinshon Judkins and Rasheed. Dude, this is DraftKings is killing me. And Rasheed Rice on Sunday. Got 5th in one of the live final qualifiers, even without those guys. And I played Luke McCaffrey in his stone cold 0. And Bill. So Bo making money, having a really good Sunday when it's Bo Nix scoring. And by the way, just the run out for the Broncos was absolutely hilarious. Bo Nix and the Broncos do absolute jack shit. I'm taking Wemby, of course, at the 103. Bo Nix, they score 0 points in the first half. Have one of the most epic fourth quarters I've ever seen in my entire life. I wish he would have thrown a touchdown to Cortland Sutton or Marvin Mims instead of to Troy Franklin and RJ Harvey. I mean, it was good for the best ball bags, I guess, Harvey, but either way, shouldn't be complaining about the most insane Bo Nix run out you've ever seen in your entire life. But nonetheless, I feel the same way. Like, I think DK started to burn to the ground when they were like, I don't think you should have made money with this team. You faded to 27 fantasy points from both Judkins and Rasheed Rice, and they're 50% owned. And you played Luke McCaffrey and made money. Like, this does not compute on the back end. Let's see how this team is looking. Klingon, Wendell Carter, and Mitchell Robinson. Okay, I think that blends. Yeah, Wendell Carter's got 8 games in the final. Mitch Rob has 8 games in the, is Mitch going to play all 8 of those? I don't know, but Klingon doesn't have a very good playoff schedule, but he can at least help us advance that one. Boucher, Harden, and LaMelo. Okay. Which team is this one? Şengün. So you see 21% Amen, 12% Harden, 12% Donovan Mitchell, 13% Tyrese Maxey. Oh, we're up to 52 Derek White, baby. I do so much Amen Thompson. Let's do somebody different. Let's do Scotty or LaMelo or KD. I really just don't love Kevin Durant. Let's do Scotty. Let's do Scotty with Şengün here. This was, okay, Wemby. Plus 200 on 36 PRA for Dick. They're just handing out free money. They're handing it out. That's his. He's going to score. How many points did he score in that last preseason game? And he shot the ball like shit. 33. He scored 33 real life points in 35 minutes in that game against the Raptors starters with 9 rebounds and 6 assists, also 4 blocks. And he shot 6 of 17 from 3. 6 of 17 from 3. Imagine if he makes a couple fucking threes. He scored 33 points. I know Jalen, etc. But come on, man. We're going to make so much money on Derek White tomorrow. Chet has had at least 2 blocks in all 7 regular season games versus Houston. Usually he's getting 3. That's interesting. Not a big fan of betting steals and blocks. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I keep it fairly simple from an NBA betting perspective, right? Points, PRA, depending upon the player, right? I don't know. I'm trying to think of somebody who just like doesn't rebound or whatever, or doesn't get assists. You can just, Jalen Duren, maybe you want to do points plus rebounds. What I generally like to do is like PRA, right? Points plus rebounds plus assists is just like a good general. It's not perfect, but it's kind of like the best marker for like, okay, this guy's going to have a good game or he's not, right? His number, like that's like it's kind of all the stats, right? Besides steals and blocks. So you combine all those together. It's like hits plus runs plus RBIs in baseball. It's like, if I just jumble up all the stuff that you can do on the floor, this is a general guideline of, did you have a good game or did you have a bad game? Or like, right. So like, I think the price on all that stuff with Derek White is just wrong. He is going to get assists. He's going to get rebounds. He's going to do kind of all the stuff. I don't know. Does he score 33 points with no assists? I don't know. Right. I don't know exactly how it's going to shake out there. I like to be less precise. Some guys are more just like, let's look at, right, like a Norm Powell or something would be like, let's just look at the points, right? Because he's probably going to score a lot, but I don't know if he's going to ever grab a rebound in the entire game. Yeah, exactly. It's just, it's the easy. It's like WAR in like baseball, or like WRC plus in baseball, right? It's like, no one stat is like a perfect indicator of anything, right? Everything has its flaws, but if there's one like quick and dirty, like this is kind of about what we should expect from this guy. The PRA is the best way to do it. So speaking of, I have so much Derek White with Şengün. Let's just keep it rolling. Let's just no backing down now. Last game of the year, can't hold anything back now. 10% of my Wemby teams have Maxey. I actually quite like Maxey plus Derek White. Actually, you see 8 games in the semifinals for Maxey, 8 games in the quarterfinals for Derek White, when Maxey only has 6. Wemby has 8 in the quarterfinals. So, all these guys, all 3 of them only have 7 in the finals, but that's okay. It could be, 7. 6 is when I get worried. Chet's definitely a bit different. I'm not saying that I'm right about that. It's just the even for the best, right? Even for Wemby and Chet and Amen and these guys, the steals and blocks stuff can just be a little bit random, especially steals and blocks like against this a little bit different version of the Rockets this year. Let me move my head to a different spot here so that it's not covering up the on the clock section. I did Scotty right. We'll do Maxey on this one then too. What is your underdog username? It is E Beimfohr. EBEIMFOHR. That is my username. It's fully spelled out. Oh, I guess I should pay attention to make sure I get my Derek White. At Erik Beimfohr on social media platforms, and E Beimfohr on the DFS and best ball platforms. Do we think the $52 spin move overlays by more than 20%? It's such a good question because I don't really know how to gauge like this. Like the $52 price point is such an awkward price point that on one hand you're like, it seems unlikely that this will, be something that the casuals will come in at the last minute. Okay, let's see here. Damn. You know who I really like pairing, who I've done a ton of, is Alex Sarr, because I love pairing him with Şengün. If you remember, the Rockets have 8 games in the quarters, 7 games in the semifinals, and 8 games in the finals, whereas Alex Sarr with the Wizards has 7 games, right? It's go 7, 8, 7. So I have 8 games in each individual round. If something happens to Şengün for the semifinals and I can advance him with Alex Sarr or something, that would be sweet. I like that. But I just find it hard to believe that any of these tournaments are going to overlay too significantly on DraftKings. The $20 will fill at some point, and then the people will probably pile in. There's overlay chasers are just everywhere, even in these tournaments. So I would be shocked if it overlays, but like, I mean, maybe it doesn't all the way fill, but if like 20%, I would be stunned if it's yeah, I my take is that the overlay is not going to be so substantial that it's like some great plus EV venture, but that's just a total wise ass guess, right? It's a good question. Yeah, this is a great point. If like Underdog was still open and available, I hate this camera. I had to get a new one, and this one's even worse than the old one. I'm gonna have to just shell out for a better one. It's pissing me off. With Underdog still, or with Underdog filled, and with Drafters now filled, especially Underdog, right? I'm not sold that Drafters makes a huge dent in or impacts DraftKings too much, but maybe a little bit. But DK is the only show in town now. So the stuff that's like, oh, it's open, is it going to overlay? It's like, well, if people are going to come draft, they only got one place to come do it now. Said we wanted Maxey with Derek White. I was going to check your football portfolio. I can show it to you. It don't bother me none, and it ain't good. I don't know. Let's see. I promise we'll go back to the NBA thing in just a second. Let's see. The DraftKings Millie, I am advancing 13%. And and BBM, I think it's the same. 13%. So it's about, I always hope to be more at expectation, but it's about as a full-blown zero RB rookie bro and all that kind of stuff with 20% Malik Neighbors, basically no Bijan, 55% Will Shipley. It's about to be expected that it's not an awesome start to my advance rates. Okay. Derek White, Scotty Barnes, Alperin Şengün, Alex Sarr. I like Trey Murphy on this squad. Trey goes well with Scotty, plays 8, and the Raptors go 6, 7, 8, I believe. 6 games, 7 games, 8 games. Whereas Trey Murphy goes the opposite direction, so we can get kind of a nice little blending there. I also just like Trey Murphy. Yeah, exactly. Low owned playoff. So the funny thing about all the advance rate conversation is I totally get it. Everybody, just like everyone else, I want to advance as many teams as possible, but I'm like actively, I understand that I'm going to have a lower advance rate than the average person does based upon how I draft over the summer. So like, I know that I don't draft it like, and especially right, we're heading into week 8. We're halfway through the regular season. Like when you don't draft a lot of the early running backs, you're probably not going to have like a super strong advance rate. You have 20% Malik Neighbors, you have 20% Puka Nacua, you have 15% CeeDee Lamb or whatever it is that I like. It's not gonna be looking great, but it's funny because I feel like compared to like last year, I feel awesome about the start to this season. Do I have like the exact advance rate I would love to have? No, of course not. But when I go look at teams and I'm like, shit, dude, this team's already advancing, and it's like a Purdy, Kittle, Trey Benson, Amari and Hampton, Rashee Rice team that's advancing, and I'm like, dude, I'll go to war with the teams that I have, right? It's not perfect, but I'm not like, I don't know. I'm excited. I'm really excited for it. Like even like I said, even with a 13% advance rate or whatever. Maxey, White, Wemby. Damn, 100% of my what? 100% Wemby. Okay, I don't want to do Reeves on this team then. Let's do Bridges. 100% of my Wemby Maxey teams have Reeves. So I think it would be better to do Reeves on this one. Reeves is a nice talk about advance rate plays. LeBron missing some time. Get Reeves, but he also does have 8 games in the first round which goes well with some of the guys that I like to draft. Exactly. Like, can you? And the same thing happens in the NBA, right? We're obviously talking NBA, but draft, right? I'm gonna have 60% Cam Whitmore or whatever. Like, Cam Whitmore is not really gonna do a lot of helping me advance, most likely, right? Like, that's not the play. The play is not that. This is a different team than I usually draft. That is for sure. 3 forwards, 2 centers, and just Derek White at guard. It's fun. It's fun. Something different. But the hope, right, is that is this the Wemby? Yeah, Wemby. I don't have Fox with like any of these guys. Oh no, my exposure stuff is just messed up. Let's do Sar again, because I can come back and fill in the gaps at center. Sar has 7, right? 7, 8, 7. I can come back and find the guys that fit the specifically like the Celtics have 8. So like Kada fits to help in the quarters. And then you can get like a Wendell Carter, or let's just look at the center super quickly. Obviously Kessler, Pirtle, Wendell Carter, Edey, right? Hold on to Edey till he comes back. That's about it, I think. Kalkbrenner that have 8 in the finals, and make that your 3 center room, so that it kind of, right, like call it like Frankensteining a really, really good center together, because in the playoffs, and of course, in the regular season, you're hoping to layer in their points perfectly, but then in the playoffs, each week, kind of having a monster center from a games played perspective. Let's see. Yeah, it's just interesting where you get like, so especially think about where we're at in the NFL is sort of like, the calendar flips in NBA. We get to the second half and you're like, okay, now Cam Whitmore is going to hopefully come on, right? Walter Clayton is going to come on. Kyle Filipowski is going to come on. Some of these guys it's like, this is the time that I drafted these guys for. And so when things aren't going like super duper well to start, right? Sure. Like, right, if you draft a bunch of Bijan Robinson and Jonathan Taylor, and you punt tight end and you punt quarterback, and you have Josh Jacobs and whatever, you have all those guys in the NFL, and you've been relying upon Quentin Johnston, right, and Wan'Dale Robinson and stuff like that. Like, you're probably going to be advancing a bunch of teams. Now, if you draft Derrick Henry, that's not true, right? But like, I'm actually well overweight. Like, I have like 15% Jonathan Taylor, like well overweight Jahmyr Gibbs, which was really fun last night. It's just like, let's do I don't build a lot of these. Let's do like a hero guard team on this. And I don't mean Tyler Hero. I mean, I'm good at center. I've got 4 forwards. We can just build out a whole boatload of like 8-6-2 team. Oh, wow. We'll do Miles Bridges on here. That's nice. Okay. These teams are coming together. Kind of a lot of similar builds, similar players, very different builds, I guess is what I would say. I have no idea what I need to happen to maintain my rate. Hacker diversify my stuff so much. That's another thing, is like, if you're really widely diversified, you won't dip too low in an advance rate, because you'll always have some of all of the different guys, but you'll also never get too high. So like I said, don't even necessarily know what you're going to advance rate if you work there's absolutely nothing wrong, right, with diversifying your portfolio. It's just there's give and take with everything that you do. You take big stands, you can have a big advance rate, but you can also have a really low advance rate, right? If you take big stands and those guys whiff or get hurt or whatever, right? You draft a 50% James Conner, good luck having a really good advance rate. Doesn't mean you can't win. I drafted 50% J.K. Dobbins a couple of years ago when he's on the Ravens. He got hurt in the first game, right? He tore his Achilles in the first half of the first game. I had 50% of him in the 5th round or whatever it was. And I finished in the top 10 of Best Ball Mania. It's like, it's a crazy game. You just want to, your whole goal is to build as many teams to get one good one, right? For the playoffs. It would be nice to advance as many as possible to give you as many shots on goal, but it doesn't really matter, right? If you advance a bunch of teams and they die off in weeks 15 and 16, it doesn't, you got your min cash back. That's great. But I'm playing I'm playing all of these, NBA included. If I lose every cent, it's fine. Because I'm swinging for the 100K, right? I'm swinging for the 2 million. That's it. I don't know why we would play any of these games if the whole goal isn't to swing. Swinging is different, can mean different things to different people, but I think you should swing regardless. Okay. Maxey, White, Wemby, Bridges. I do quite like Lauri Markkanen a little bit more. Let's do RJ on this team. What the hell? I don't think I've drafted it. Oh, no, we can't do Gobert on this one. Okay, I got to remember. This is my mega forward team. I will take... No, let's do Edgecombe first. We'll take Edgecombe on this team. I don't know if you saw the quote from Nick Nurse about VJ Edgecombe and basically being like the barometer is how many minutes he played. Obviously he's going to have to earn the minutes, but Nick Nurse is going to give VJ Edgecombe the opportunity to play as many minutes as possible. Will he do it? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, but we're definitely going to find out. Okay. Maxey and White don't have this. This is a quickly team. It's Maxey and White don't have 8 games in the finals, but they do have 8 games in the first. Each of them have 8 games in one of the first 2 weeks. This one, Bridges has 8 at the end. Okay. How about I legit never draft Shaedon Sharpe, and I probably should have more than whatever 1 or 2%. Let's get just a small sprinkle of Shaedon Sharpe here. Maxey, White, Reeves, Sharpe with Şengün and Miles Bridges. 8% Connor, 16% Benson, 0% working. But that's the funny thing is, I'm like, it could be worse. Benson could be Braylon Allen, right? But I'm like, when I look at teams, I have a lot of Trey Benson, that's another one where it's like, I don't know, man. I drafted a bunch of Trey Benson and James Conner got hurt. Theoretically, that should really be a boost to the advance rate, but it's actually killing the advance rate. What are you going to do? Like sometimes you're right, but still wrong in these games. Sometimes you're wrong and end up right. Was Rashad Penny right a few years ago? I don't know. He basically didn't play all season. He got hurt. Like people probably thought he was going to get hurt, but then he was the RB1 during the best ball playoffs. Was Trey Benson wrong? I don't think so. Trey Benson was probably pretty damn right, but it just didn't really work, Yes, Trey Johnson. Give me the rookies. But anyway, I forgot what I was even going to say. Oh yeah, but then maybe I'm just forcing myself to be more positive, or maybe it is just a lot more of a positive season. TBD on that. But I look at these teams and I'm like, I don't know, man. Trey Benson's on, right? We can go look. So here's 13% advance rate. I bet you we can find a Trey Benson team near the top, probably. Right here, my third highest scoring team in BBM. Baker, Purdy, Bijan, JT. Right. So here, I actually built a robust team that has Trey Benson, has Rashad White, Braylon probably not coming back, but maybe he does. I don't know. Maybe Braylon comes back. Right. Pickens, Zay, Pearsall, Ibuka, Christian Kirk, Gross, Diami, Jalen Royals, Darius Slayton. That seems good. Io Manor. That seems good. McBride, Kraft. I don't know. That team fucking rocks. right? Like, give me those teams. Let's see. I think another one of my highest scoring teams was like a Hampton RB1. Yeah. But my fourth highest scoring team is Hampton, Swift, Mason, Ramondre, Garendo, Dowdle, Rashard Smith, right? Rashee Rice. Like, I don't know. Advancing those teams feels pretty good, right? That's like advance your Cam Whitmore, advance your Kyle Filipowski, advance your Terrence Shannon, advance your Nikola Jovic, advance whatever, and like let the chips fall where they may. You may advance a few less teams because some people are drafting Rui Hachimura, right? Or Zach Levine or whatever, DeMar DeRozan, these boring ass guys. That's fine. Let them advance a couple more teams than you do. Let's do Hero, actually. We're pretty damn good at guard. Maxey, White, Reeves, and Sharp. If those guys can't hold down the fort until Hero comes back, this team was, whatted. I don't know why I refused to say the F word that time when I say it every 2 minutes or so usually. Okay, this is the Wemby team, so we only have Sar. Ace. Yeah, I'm cool with Ace. I'm cool with Ace on this team. Bridges has 8 in the finals. RJ has 8 in the finals. Wemby has 8 in the first round. What pick is this? 114. Okay. So much Aldama. Jesus Christ. Okay, this is the forward heavy team. Let's see. Do Aldama, that's fine. Oh no, I don't think I want Nas on this team. Edgecombe again, it is. Are you drafting Yegor Demin? A little. Not a ton, but I do take. I actually think Ben Seraph is going to be a better player than Demin. I know that's a bit of a hot take, but so I have 4% Demin, 4% Seraph. So I've really been kind of splitting it down the middle with those guys. That's probably a little bit too light, but as you see, I have 50% Shannon, 60% Io, right? So I've just been a little bit heavier on some of these other guys. Let's look at let's go to the one where I'm almost up. We can look at some of the deeper guards. Right, so 60% Io, 33% Walter Clayton, 13% Scoot, 11% McCain, 11% Ty Jerome, 9% Cole Anthony. That's most of it. 9% Baylor Shireman, right? So you kind of see where my head is at. It's not that I don't like him or nice. It's nice when Matherin is here on a team that needs a forward. Bam Bam and Pebbles. Oh, what is Cooper Flagg's outlook? He's going to be an incredible generational NBA player over the course of his career, but I'm not really drafting him this season. Part of it is the Mavs have a pretty brutal playoff schedule. Let's just pull up Kyrie. So they do have 8 games in the first round, but then 6 and 7 is not awesome. Kyrie is going to come back and hurt the production of those guys, right? So they're being drafted a little bit like, okay, well, they're going to put up big numbers while Kyrie is out. Kyrie's going to come back at the most important time, steal some stuff away from him. I also just think, like, look, Flagg is 19 years old. There's not a lot of 19-year-olds without NBA experience that just like dominate for fantasy. He certainly is going to be good. Like, I'm not saying Cooper Flagg is going to be bad. He's going to be awesome. I'm very bullish on Cooper Flagg long term and overall as a player. He's awesome. But like the way the Mavs put together that roster, I
I'm not a big fan. D'Angelo Russell, first of all, they tried to start Flag as like the nominal point guard in the preseason for a game, and it went really poorly. Really poorly. Turned it over, shot the ball terribly. Perfect Bob Carrington team. I think that's just going to be like Flag is also probably like a better real life player at this moment than he is a fantasy asset in the NBA. Because he's a really good defender. He does kind of a lot of the little stuff. That's what part of what makes Cooper Flag so great is he doesn't really have a flaw, but he does have like room to grow in certain areas, lots of areas, if I'm being frank. Right, hold on one second. Edgecombe is fine. But I'm not super into Flag for best ball purposes at his cost, personally. When the generational prospect dunks on me, I'll happily wave the white flag. But I just prefer some, like, he ain't cheap. He ain't cheap. Does week 18 start? You can look it up. Does week 18 start after the All-Star break or the week after? It's late. It's late. If you go to contest details and you go to you got to go to the full rules page, right? If it's in there somewhere. Yeah. Here you go. Here's 17 weeks, and here's so when's the All-Star break? February 23rd is when the fantasy playoffs start. So what is that? Is that after the All-Star break? NBA all God blessed. This dang computer is killing me. NBA All-Star break. That's funny. I recently searched NBA All-Stars from North Carolina. Yeah, so the week after. What did we say it was? Oh, I guess I should pay attention to my draft. Sar. Okay, Wendell Carter, I like with Sar. That's a good fit. I always forget how late the NBA All-Star break is. It's like it should be halfway through the season, but it's not actually halfway through the season. So it throws me. Okay, I don't want Kata. This is my weak guard team. Oh God. Here comes the multi-table problems. I want to do Jabari actually on this team. I need the I need the extra playoff. I'm gonna do the same on this one. I just need the extra first. I need the first week. If you recall, like Ace, RJ, Miles don't have a lot of games in the very beginning of the fantasy playoffs, so I need a little bit. Jabari Smith, of course, the Rockets playing 8 games in the first round is very helpful to this team. Not that big of a difference. Aldama plays 7. Kyle Filipowski plays 7, but I'm still trying to just do as best of a job as possible as blending those things together. Wemby is a forward here on DraftKings, question mark, exclamation point. Yes, that is correct. DraftKings has some humorous positional labels for some of these guys. Okay, you have to give me 2 seconds. You can watch me auto Kyle Filipowski. Oh, we made it back. Truly never a dull moment in the Beimfohr residence. All right, let's see. Auto draft will be Bona. Don't want that. I might need Keyshawn. You see a bunch of Boucher, a bunch of Keyshawn George. Let's do Keyshawn George. And then that's it at forward. When we hammer out some guards the rest of the way. Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure and add guys to the queue. Maybe I'll take Demon on this team. To the question from before. Just get some guards in the queue there. Because this team is going to be guard the rest of the way. 3 guards. That's how I like to build like the kind of hero guard team. Right? Get my Derek White, Edgecombe, Trey Johnson, Bub Carrington, Io DeSumo, right? And then we're going to get some flyers on some guards to close it out. But we got 8 of them, right? I just need 2 of you guys to do some stuff. Let's see. Bridges, Matherin, and Jabari. Okay. So, yeah, see, now we can take Filipowski. This team has 6 guards, only Şengün. Okay, so we'll get one more center. One more center. The 6 guards are pretty strong. So this is probably an 8 forward team, right? So this would be I don't even know. This is more of like a 0 forward. I don't know that I would call Miles Bridges a hero forward. Definitely not a hero in real life. And I'm not sure that I would call him a hero even in a fantasy sense. So probably a 0 forward team. Dang. I'm going to take either Mitrab or Bona here. They go really well with Şengün. You see 8 games for Mitrab in the semis, 8 games for Bona in the semis. Mitrab is useless in the final with 5, and there he goes. Anyway, we'll take Bona. I was probably going to take Bona anyway. But, is Bona even going to with 8 games, going to outscore Şengün with 7? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about that. But it gives me outs to it. It gives me outs to so what if Şengün doesn't even play all 7? You know what I mean? Then that's when things get dicey. But so having that other guy with 8 in the semifinals is huge. Do I need it? Yeah, let's Kada. We did Wendell Carter. So this is one of my sort of favorite 3 pairings of centers. Sar, Wendell Carter, Neemias Queta. None of them are like that super awesome in a vacuum. I mean, they all are viable. Talked a little bit about Wendell Carter yesterday, but Queta has 8 games in the quarterfinals, and I like him a lot. Sar has 8 games in the semifinals, and he's nice. And then Wendell Carter has 8 games in the finals. So it's like if they all kind of have good seasons, they're blending together throughout the whole regular season. And then when we get to the playoffs, it's like, all right, we Frankensteined this superstar center. How do I compete with Jokic? How do I compete with, with Şengün? How do I compete with those guys? It's like I said, the Frankenstein approach in the fantasy playoffs. And obviously those 3 can combine for a bunch of good weeks in the regular season too. Which team is this one? Okay, this is that SAR team. Let's do Jovic. These are getting ready to wrap here in just a minute. We'll hop into our final 2 drafts. Let's see what else we got going on over here tomorrow night. What's a SAR look like? Oh, come on. 21.5. Come on. Against the Bulls? Against the fastest paced team in the league that plays no defense? We're going to be so rich. We're going to be so rich tomorrow. Who needs best ball? We just bet Derek White and Asar tomorrow. I'm also not going to lie to you guys. I can't believe I just drafted like 80, literally 80 DraftKings NBA best ball teams in 24 hours. Not sure what that says about me. I don't feel great about it. Okay, this is what I need to make sure I get my queue of forwards so that I don't screw this up. Okay. Okay, this is the zero guard team. That was the zero forward team. Or this is the hero guard team that's hammering guards the rest of the way. Walter Clayton is guard number 6. I'll skip Terrence Shannon just for you guys. And oh, did Demon go? Maybe I won't skip Terrence Shannon. I mean, I just can't help myself, guys. Get your guys. Put the cojones on the table or walk away. That's my NBA best ball strategy. Either put them on the table or go to a different table. Let's see. 36.5. I know the Pistons have a good defense, but 36.5 for Giddey. No Kobe White. Is Io on here? 20.5's okay. Wizard. Oh God. Bucks against the Wizards. How many points is Giannis going to score? Jesus Christ, 18.5 points for CJ McCollum? That seems a little excessive. When Embiid is inevitably shut down, the Bonamaniacs are going to run wild all over you. Agreed. I agree. Do they have, speaking of, do they have Boucher up over here? I assume this will be down at the bottom. Pritchard, Hauser. Oh my. Dude. I think Chris Boucher is just going to start at the 4. I don't know that. Oh, shoot. Well, hope I wanted Chris Boucher again on this team. It's okay. Okay. Got to be guard the rest of the way over here, though, since we screwed that one up. We're pretty good at guard out of the gate on this team, though, with Maxey White quickly. Let's do... Oh, shit. But it doesn't have... Come on. Let's stand on something. What is this? This is... Yeah, we'll take McCain. McCain's fine. Two teams left. Full. All right. 2 more forwards on this one. Yep, 2 more forwards. Let's see what the interwebs are saying about Chris Boucher. Not much. Not much. But I'll be interested to see if they start Boucher or Hauser. I think they're going to start Boucher. Which in that case, what is it? 7.5? 7.5, 8.5 at most books. What's Keita rebounds? I don't know how much I love the points. But Keita and Garza, right? They're playing against Embiid. So Keita and Garza, how many fouls do they get, right? In the 22 minutes that Joel Embiid is going to play. But rebounds, what's Keita? 6.5. Scores and odds, projects him for 8. He's a really good rebounder. Dealing with Embiid is a little bit of a problem for that. But that looks pretty good. Who else we want to look at for tomorrow? Or tonight? I'm just looking at tomorrow mostly right now. Grizzlies, what a mess. What's Ja's points? I mean, if he doesn't score 25, how the hell against the Pelicans? They're 4.5 points. Riddle me this, Batman. How does Memphis win? How's in a 236.5 total? How does Memphis win by 5 and John Morant doesn't score 25 points? That's crazy. I'm in under 15.5 points. I haven't got this is just me riffing, by the way. I haven't gone through projections at all yet. So I don't know if I said I've drafted 80 basketball teams in 24 hours while watching football and baseball. So you have to forgive me if I am a bit uninformed from a projection standpoint. But I also think there's no better time to go away from the projections than the very start. It's literally the first game. The projections don't know. We know, but right? The Sims don't know ball. The projections in the Sims don't know ball like we know ball. We know everything that's happened in the preseason. We've been studying these teams for months. Later in the season, they'll catch up to us. But right now, they don't know what we know. Ooh, Paulo team. Nice. Second to last team. Oh, shoot. What is this team? Guard. Okay, it's got to be a guard. Let me think about this. Where am I weakest? Let's actually do Shireman on this team. 80 is legendary, some would say. Legendary sickos, some would say. Yeah, I did it. So obviously I didn't make every pick in all 80 teams by any stretch of the imagination. I did not make the majority of those picks. Who's on this? Paulo. 25% of the Paulo teams have Speaking of Amen Thompson, slam dunk second round pick. But all right, here's team 150. We're in the 106. But what I was doing that I actually thought worked really well for basketball I'm actually quite excited about what the portfolio. I was going through it this morning. I'm quite excited about what the portfolio looks like because what I did is like sort of like a guided auto draft where like I entered a bunch of teams. I'm definitely not making all these picks, right? I have my rankings in there. I also like tweak the rankings a little bit to like the raw rankings that you'll get on spikeweek.com are my like, this is 100% where I have these ranked. ADP doesn't matter. Team construction doesn't matter. Nothing matters. And so I do think from a user, if you're autoing off of them, there's some things you would want to change to them. They're not created for you to auto draft off of because I don't, right. I put a guy where I think he should be ranked. But a lot of times what you would like to do is get a little bit better price on that. Like, right. Like if I think Derek White is the 19th overall player, but he goes at 36, it doesn't mean I want to take him at 19 every single time. Right. But in an auto draft, you're going to do that. So anyway, but so what I did is, and then, right. So I enter a bunch of drafts. I'm definitely autoing a bunch of picks, but then I'm popping in and out of the drafts and like making selections to like tweak some things around the edges. And not all of them. Some of them are just like full blown autoed. I found it to be quite good. I'm not saying the teams will be good, but I'm saying in terms of achieving what I wanted to achieve, it actually worked quite well. And there's just obviously no way that I could do that many teams in that short amount of time if I didn't do it this way. So, I do not have enough Cade. So we'll see if he takes Cade or Şengün. Okay, nice. We'll get Cade on the last team. Get up to 4, only 4% Cade doesn't seem good, but that it is what it is. The draft gods, when you take Şengün ahead of him every time, what can you do? Boston seems to be the most interesting team to touts in fantasy and best ball. I think they could be awful for both. I just don't really see how they could be awful. I mean, could they underwhelm? Sure. I don't really see how they could be awful. They still have really good players, and like really bad teams still score fantasy points. You know what I mean? Like the Jazz were truly trying to lose last year, and like Kyle Filipowski's ripping off 40 and 50 fantasy point games. Just being out there, right? If Derek White's out there, he's going to score a bunch of fantasy points. If Jaylen Brown's out there, he's going to score a bunch of fantasy points. Chris Boucher scores fantasy points. Neemias Queta scores fantasy points while he's out there. Yeah, I just don't see how, like being really efficient. Derek White was inefficient the other night and scored like 60 fantasy points. They're also there's no team plays guys 25 minutes, like plays everyone 25 minutes. Just doesn't happen. Derek White's unless the only way that they fail is if it goes off the rails, like right, which would be Derek White and or Jaylen Brown getting hurt. Like Derek White's not playing 25 minutes. They're playing to win. It's not in Joe Mazzulla's blood to play to lose. Those guys are going to play. Derek White's going to play 36 minutes. Peyton Pritchard's going to play 30-something minutes, right? They don't have enough functional NBA bodies to play their 12th man 25 minutes. Like it's just not possible. So they're going to score fantasy points. The way it goes south is not socialism. The way it goes south is injuries, and the team is like, all right, this was probably going to be a gap year anyway. Let's shut it down, right? Let's shut it down. But like to start the year, like Derek White's going to cook. Jaylen Brown's going to score a bunch of points. Peyton Pritchard's going to score fantasy points. Neemias Queta is going to score fantasy points. Chris Boucher, while he's out there, is going to score fantasy points. Sam Hauser's going to make some threes. Josh Minot is a pretty fun player, actually. Luka Garza actually getting an opportunity to play. First of all, this is a very funny Freudian slip given Marvin Williams, a.k.a. Mark Williams, injury history. What do you think of Malawach? I think Malawach is not ready to contribute at the NBA level. I think he's a project player. And so I think Oso Ighodaro would be the guy. for me. If I were, and I have, what the heck? God damn it, DraftKings. I think Oso Ighodaro is going to operate as the backup center to Mark Williams to start the season. Oh, shout out North. Probably going to come watch a Hornets game this year. Cade. I don't have Cade. Oh, Harden fits with Cade. That works. That works. But yeah, aren't you worried about Mark Williams' injury history? Definitely. Aren't you worried about Mark Williams, the Hornets doing everything they possibly could to trade him at every possible moment, even though he's like been good while he's been on the floor? Yep. Aren't you worried about him failing a physical? The Lakers needing a center very badly, trading for him, and him failing the physical. Yeah, I'm very terrified of Mark Williams' health. And so I don't think there's anything crazy wrong with Malawatch. Nick Richards is also there still. They have 4 fucking centers on the roster. Oh, Suns. But I think Ighodaro started in the preseason when Mark Williams didn't play. I think he really helps their offense. He's a good passer. He was kind of like not like he wasn't Jokic in college or anything like that, but he operated as the engine of the offense alongside Tyler Kolek in that 2-man game. Good passer, can dribble and move the ball. They could use that. They could really use that. Devin Booker can't do everything. Yeah, it's just a little messy. It's just a little messy. I've drafted some Oso. 3% Ighodaro. Non-zero amount of Oso Ighodaro. That's my bet. But yeah, on the Celtics, the reason why people are excited is because they're going to play to win. It's what the Celtics do. It's in their blood. It's in Joe Mazzulla's blood. It's in Jaylen Brown and Derek White. The East is really bad, right? So like if Halliburton hadn't gotten hurt, if Joel Embiid were healthy, if the East was in better shape, and the Celtics, it looked like, oh my God, there's just absolutely no, right? If the Celtics were in the West, we would be like, oh no, this is going to go really bad, right? Like really bad. Speaking of going really bad, I think it's going to go really bad in Memphis. So let's do Franz instead of Ja. But it could still go off the rails unintentionally in Boston. That's my concern, like big time concern. I think Boston could end up playing. Everybody plays 10 guys almost every night. That's not like that's baked in that they're going to play 10 guys. That's just basketball, right? The Rockets are going to play 10 guys. We draft a bunch of them early. I will bet you every dollar to my name, including dollars that the bank would go give me, that they will not play even minutes 10 guys. That has never happened. 10 guys all playing 24 minutes. It has never happened. It won't ever happen. I will bet you every cent that this doesn't happen. It just doesn't. No, there's never been a basketball team ever. They would be the literal first basketball team to ever play, right? This isn't Grinnell College, which shout out Grinnell College, right? Hockey line shifts. It just doesn't happen. The way I'm telling you, your Boston skepticism is not misplaced. It's just the reason for the skepticism is misplaced. I'm terrified about the Boston Celtics, and I have 50% Derek White. I'm truly terrified that all it takes is one Derek White ankle sprain, and the season goes south, and then down the stretch, they're playing all the backups. But guess what? Guess who we would then want in that scenario? The backups. Because no one plays everybody 24 minutes a night. There's going to be winners from a fantasy sense from the Boston Celtics. I can't guarantee you that it's Derek White. I can't guarantee you that it's Baylor Shireman. I don't know. But there's going to be winners. That's why everyone is excited for it. No matter how the season plays out, whether it goes well or whether it goes disastrously, there's going to be people are mispriced on the Boston Celtics. I can't guarantee you I know who it is, but there are mispriced players on the Boston Celtics. Let's do Bane. That's why people are excited. So glad I did all my drafts before constructing my lineups. Think you can really get in your own way strategizing around the schedule. Yes and no. I think that's fair. I think that the schedule is really important. I think so long as you understand, don't make every single, I'm not making every selection because of the schedule. Like James Harden doesn't have like you can, the quarterfinals are the least important week. I mean, the reason to be worried about Portland is because of the Portland Trailblazers in the roster. That offense is going to be really bad. They don't have much shooting. They needed Scoot to take a leap from an offensive perspective, especially as a playmaker. Drew's not really the same guy anymore. Shaden Sharp can score. Donovan Clingan, not a great offensive player. Somebody asked about Young Hansen. I think he's fun and he's going to sell some tickets and he's definitely going to sell some merch. I don't think he's ready to be a winning NBA basketball player. Time Lord is still there at the center position. I love Denny Avdia. I loved Tamani Kamara as a winning basketball player. Not a huge fantasy contributor because he's like a 3-and-D player. But the reason to be worried about like teams like Portland is not just because of the playoff. The playoff schedule sucks, and it's like right. I just drafted Shaden Sharp. I have Denny Avdia. I have Donovan Clingan. I have Scoot. I've drafted these guys, but I would say, hold on, a lot of Alex Sarr. I would say that the playoff schedule is like a very huge deal. You shouldn't take players that you don't want to have on teams only because of the playoff schedule, but you also shouldn't avoid the playoff schedule. Because a player that you like playing 8 games is better than a player that you like playing 6 or 5. The Knicks play 5. The Knicks are functionally dead in the right, like, explain to me how the Knicks in 5 games, when a bunch of other teams are playing 8, are going to not just like put up an okay score. Jalen Brunson has a couple 70 balls, right? Let's just pretend that happens. Jalen Brunson scores 70 twice in 2 of his 5 games. Okay, cool, right? He puts up a functional score for you. How does he match the guys playing 8? They're playing almost double the amount of games. Like, that matters. It totally matters. We don't want to go like completely out over our skis, but that's why like the Rockets and the Pistons and some of those teams are so killer, because they have it all. Asar Thompson, I drafted Asar Thompson on Drafters. I would draft Jalen Duren and Asar Thompson and Cade Cunningham in any format in my home league, right? Which I don't care about the playoffs. Like I would draft Amen Thompson and Alperen Şengün and Jabari Smith Jr., right? And all these guys. I would draft them in no matter what. And then, right, they become heavier exposure players because of the playoff schedule as well. It's like they check every box. We don't want to only check the playoff schedule box. There's a bunch of guys with good playoff schedules that I don't draft. But when we can find the best of all the different worlds, that's when it's just a total slam dunk. No pun intended. Damn it. Buzelis. Do. What a mega balanced team. Just sit and wait and hope that our boy gets back to us. It's a good team. No Derek White on this one. A-holes took him. Asar season. Mostly I take that Boston could implode more than ADP is crediting. If they are bad, Brown will not be playing when it matters. Tatum, I agree. You see how much Jaylen Brown I have? 0. Zippity doo dah. None. And Tatum, I have 0 Tatum and 0 Jaylen Brown. My take is Derek White is going to carry. If it all goes well, I just want Derek White. Jaylen Brown's fine. Jaylen Brown's going to miss time. He always does. But if it all goes well, Derek White is the guy you want. This is my thesis. Right? Doesn't mean it's right. If the season goes fine, Derek White's going to be an absolute smash, all-star, all-NBA player, scoring monster fantasy points. Because he's part of the reason why it's going. He's the main reason why it's going well. Keita plays well at center. If it goes poorly, it's Baylor Shireman, Josh Minot. Keita's fine in that regard. It's not like they need to bench Neemias Keita. But Luka Garza, right? Not Sam Hauser. They'll probably trade Simons or Hauser or both. But if it goes poorly, yeah, it's not that I absolutely do. I'm not drafting Jason Tatum. I don't think even if Tatum comes back, these guys, like when they come back, they don't just like, oh, yep, it's back to Tatum playing 40 minutes a night with 40% usage. Like, no, he's not going to play back-to-backs. Less than a year after tearing his Achilles, he's not playing back-to-backs. And okay, he's not playing back-to-backs, and he's not playing his full minute load. I mean, I think this is up to each individual person. This is a fair assessment for you, given your stance. We should be taking the same percentage of Pritchard as Shireman and Boucher as Minot. Pritchard is some of the drafters' highest. Like, why? I mean, I draft Josh Minot. But also, like, the early season is not nothing. Scoring more fantasy points out of the gate is not nothing. You think there's more implosion risk than the average person does, which I think is completely reasonable. But that doesn't mean that someone else's strategy has to be based upon your take, right? They could say, right? So like me, I'm acknowledging, right? So people can make bets and understand that it doesn't mean that they're locks, right? I'm putting 50% of my, right? I'm drafting 150 teams. 75 of them or whatever are going to have Derek White. It doesn't mean that I don't acknowledge the fact that this could go really poorly for Derek White. I absolutely acknowledge that. But I think it's best if I'm trying to win a top-heavy tournament with $100,000 to first place. I think the best way to do it is by hammering Derek White. It doesn't mean just because I acknowledge the implosion risk doesn't mean that I should draft the same amount of Baylor Shireman as I draft Derek White, or right. If someone likes Peyton Pritchard, it doesn't mean you can acknowledge it and also still want to draft in a certain way, right? That's the difference. We're attacking something in what we think is the most exploitative, right? I'm trying to exploit something. It doesn't mean that there isn't another way to exploit it. It's just, this is my preference and I'm going to put my chips in on it. I can't cover every base, right? If you want to fade the expensive Celtics and draft the cheap ones, go for it. I think that's a genuinely really good way to play it. But it doesn't mean that's the only way to play it. It doesn't mean because you can conceive of, or you can see a way in which this goes poorly that you have to draft it for both. So you can say, look, if it goes poorly, I'm willing to lose. I'm willing to lose. Right? It's like you make a bet on Peyton Pritchard. It's like, okay, it went bad. He doesn't shoot a lot of threes. Oh no, I lost my bet. But I placed a bet that I thought was a plus EV bet. Plus EV bets lose all the time. Damn, this is going to be the Magic squad. Right, and I have 0 Embiid. I wouldn't touch Embiid with a fucking 10-foot pole, and I rarely draft Kawhi. But I see how they're great picks. I totally see it. But I don't want to. That's not how I want to play. Doesn't mean you're wrong. Doesn't mean I'm wrong. Right? It's just we have different tactics based on how we want to attack it. Like, I just don't want to. Like, Joel Embiid's never going to play a back-to-back again for the rest of his life. Ever. So, like, that's very difficult for me to get on board with. I don't obviously love Reed Shepherd as much as I did before, but I do want to. I don't want to do Nas with. How about a Dash and Norm? We started really guard heavy. Definitely going to need some big help on this team. Yeah, I think I have Embiid ranked. Hold on. He's gone, right? So, yeah. I have Embiid ranked in the 80s or 90s or something like that. Where like he's literally never going to play a back-to-back, which like really limits your spike week potential, even as good as he is. Like at his price, he's going in the 30s or whatever. Like, I need you to play back-to-backs. I need you to not play 24 minutes a night, even as good as Joel Embiid is. And he's awesome. He looks good. I'm sort of rooting for the Sixers to at least be relevant in the East. The interesting thing, had a similar take about the Patriots 8.5 wins over That Looks Wrong Now, and that was just as steamy. Yeah, all steam isn't bad. Steam isn't inherently wrong. $114. What's my next pick? 127. Okay, let's do Trey Johnson. Steam isn't inherently wrong, right? Oftentimes things get steamed for good reasons. Sometimes no. The Patriots thing that I didn't bet that, but the Patriots stuff was the fact that did you see their schedule? Go look at they still don't play any bad team or any good teams like the rest of the way. The Bills are the only good team, and they beat them already. They don't. Their schedule is an absolute joke. How close are you to maxing now? Asked Denver. These are my last two teams. 149 and 150. I'm in 2 drafts right now, in the 10th round and the 11th round. 149 and 150 of we did it. 80 teams in 24 hours or whatever. It was nowhere near as stressful as I thought it was going to be. Nowhere near. I hear you. I totally hear you. I have the natural contrarian in me as well. So I'm right there with you. It's not a bad trait to like. It means you're most of the time it means you're being thoughtful. You're like, everybody just sees this one thing for like at face value, or like they see one thing, they think one thing, and then you like take a step back and think like, well, what about this? What about this? What about? It's actually really good for best ball, right? Like it's really, really good. That's a great trait to have. You just also have to balance it with the fact that you don't want to just be contrarian to every single thing that you hear people talk about. Right? Like I've heard people talk about like, well, just fade the touts or whatever. And it's like, that is, you're missing the entire point of the game. It's like, A, touts can be right. And B, just because the tout says something doesn't mean that has anything to do with the market. Right? Okay, let's see. Kada. So like if just because people say things or people bet things or people, right, the content that we listen to is talking about something in a certain way. Sar and Carter. See, we said Sar, Carter, Kada is that's the slam dunk Frankenstein center. Alex Sar, Wendell Carter, Neemias Kada. That's our Frankenstein. Right, like just because your favorite podcast likes Peyton Pritchard doesn't mean that like fading Peyton Pritchard is giving you any advantage at all over the field. It's like, I don't know, he goes in the 70s. It's not like we catapulted these guys up to first round picks. There's plenty of skepticism still in the market on like the Boston Celtics. And so I wouldn't get out over my skis just because people that you listen to are possibly steaming these guys a little bit. Pretty good at forward. So we're going to 7-6-3 this one. We're going to 7-6-3 that one. And this give me my guy Whitmore. Probably maybe 6-7-3. Yeah. We got 3 early guards. Probably 6-7-3 on this one, and then 7-6-3 on the other one, I think, is where we'll end here. That's my guess. I think Simons could just be better than Spicy P. Is Peyton Pritchard's nickname Spicy P? I definitely don't think Simons is going to be better than Peyton Pritchard, but that is totally fair. Where do we think Simons would get traded to if he does? I don't have the slightest idea. It will be somebody that there's not that many teams that can, like, trades are pretty difficult in today's NBA climate. And the reason why the Celtics will trade either Simons or Hauser is because they're trying to get out of the tax. It's entirely for tax purposes. One of them is almost basically a lock. Simons or Hauser are like a lock to go. Simons is kind of everybody's favorite bet. I would agree he's the most likely guy, but he's going to have to go to somebody that can take on a little bit of salary, right, for the Celtics to get under the tax. So it's a little bit of a tricky situation. But Simons is a good offensive player. I think you just don't like Peyton Pritchard very much, which is totally fine. I don't have like big Peyton Pritchard bags. I got no problem. Like Peyton Pritchard's fine. He's not like some big stand. But yeah, Tillman's definitely going to come back and play. I do love Peyton Pritchard. He's a really good player. He's really fun. I'm not super big on him for best ball. I have my share. I'm telling you, my Celtics take is ultimately Derek White. Derek White is a star. And people are going to learn how good Derek White is very soon. Starting tomorrow, in fact, people are going to learn. That's my main Celtics take. The rest of it is fine. I got Kata. Kata is as much of a, like, I like him as he is a DraftKings center issue. I don't have anywhere near as much Kata on the other sites. It is a DraftKings specific thing. He also scores a lot of fantasy points. Neemias Kata does. But I have some Garza. I have Minot. I have Shireman. Trying to think. I haven't got into the Hugo Gonzalez. Is Nas, Bona, and Kata enough, or add one more? I might add a Mitch Rob, Queen, Iguodaro. So I might add one to that, Bernie. It's a little light. Io. You know, else people are also going to learn how good Io DeSumo is. Not that many people are going to learn because no one gives a shit about the Chicago Bulls. And up for sale now likes Yang Hansen. I'm not so into it, but I think it's. I do think he's. I think it's totally fine. I think it's a completely reasonable take. Okay. I need it on time. Let's do Io first. Because I think this next one. I think this needs. I love you, Tari, but I think I need the Keyshawn. I think I need Keyshawn George on this. And there goes Easton anyway. I do like I do think Hugo might be good eventually. He's fun. I agree. I'm with you. Totally with you. Like I straight up think Derek White's going to produce like a first round pick so long as he's playing and the Celtics are competing, right? That's a major caveat. I don't think Peyton Pritchard's going to like set the world on fire. And I think Jaylen Brown is just Jaylen Brown. It's going to be good when he plays. But I don't think Jaylen Brown's all of a sudden going to like start averaging 8 assists a game. He may average a couple more points, but I don't think all of a sudden Jaylen Brown learned how to dribble and pass. Quite frankly. Two fairly important traits. But no, this is what we're here to talk about. What the fuck else are we going to talk about? What would you like to discuss? Just how bad the Bulls are going to be, but score 130 points a game? We can talk about it. What the Wizards' rotations will look like in March? Anybody got to get... The Wizards don't know that. The Wizards don't know who's going to be on their team. Will Chris Middleton even be there? Is it going to be Cam Whitmore or Bilal Coulibaly, Tristan Vukovic, Marvin Bagley? Who knows? Who knows? Your guess is as good as mine. Yeah, this is okay. Yeah, this is Keyshawn and then a guard. Keyshawn and a guard. I'm very sad that this team doesn't have Derek White now after all the Celtics talk, but Yang took swimming lessons. Can you imagine that big dude? That he's so, I love him. He's so big, he plays so fun, but he looks like such a kid still in the face. I love it. It was kind of a genius move to draft him. Like, whatever, it's a, what late teens or whatever they took him. Who cares? People, they could have got him in the second round. Supposedly that's not true. Supposedly somebody's going to take him in the late first, so it's fine. But also, the Blazers are a ways away. Sell some tickets and sell some merch. Generate some hype around the team. Oh, Jaylen Brown took swimming lessons. The Jaylen Brown shtick is not my favorite shtick. He's a good person fighting for the right things in the world, and I really appreciate that. But he seems just like a little weird. I just got to double check my guard. Sitch, Cade, Harden. Okay, Bane. Yeah. TJ. 2 more picks left to get to 150 in 24 hours. Swimming is going to improve his dribbling? How does that work? Yeah, this is the appropriate way to put this. You are absolutely correct. Tell me more about this. Swimming makes you a better dribbler. I'm going to the gym after this. I can dribble, first of all, but I used to swim a little bit. I hate running. Cardio is the bane of my existence. I think I'm going to get back into the pool, possibly today. But if it's going to improve my ball handling, I'm really going to get back into the pool. For sure. Jaylen Brown is worried about how many fucking points do you like. They didn't let me, play on the Olympic team. I'm going to show them by scoring as many points as I can. Is the Jaylen Brown season. What did I say this was going to be? 7-6 or 6-7? Paulo, Franz, Miles. I don't think it's a big deal either way. Guard 4. My fourth guard being Shepherd is not ideal. It really doesn't matter, honestly. I don't think. This is just another one, though, where, excuse me, I do think I need Shannon or a guy with 8 in the semifinals would be nice. Danny Wolf, but I'm sorry, Danny Wolf. I'm just taking Terrence Shannon. Come on. We have to stand on something around here. It will also be very fitting if my final pick of best ball season is Terrence Shannon, one of my guys. All right, we did it. 150. 150 DraftKings NBA best ball teams in the bag. Wow. That is crazy. I do just want to say, just for anybody that wants to see the proof, there it is. My entries, 150. Talked about my exposures at the beginning. If you want to hang out and talk NBA all season, I'm a diehard NBA fan. I know it's football season. We're all excited for NFL best ball, and NFL playoff best ball is coming. We'll be grinding the NBA streets very heavily. If you'd like to come join us, grind some bets. We're betting some Derek White overs tomorrow, some Asar Thompson overs, probably some other fun stuff tomorrow, including as well as tonight. I don't know why I'm saying tomorrow, like there's not games tonight. Come join us in the Spike Week Discord. It's just $5 a month to get access to all the channels behind the paywall. If you're a premium member on Spike Week, comes free. All you got to do is link your account under the account page. This will obviously do it on the YouTube channel for a while for NBA content. If you are not interested in any of that other stuff, but you like the NBA, towards the end of the season when NBA playoff best ball comes out, it's God's game. It's one of my favorite games. Check back, and I promise we'll be covering that in depth. I'll be writing about it. We'll be streaming about it. We'll be doing drafts. We'll be talking NBA playoffs later in the season for sure. If they happen to launch some in-season NBA tournaments, we'll be doing those as well. So go ahead and subscribe, like all that fun stuff, right? And please do come join us in the Discord, because we'll be enjoying the hoops all season long, printing some money as well along the way. I appreciate you guys. This was a ton of fun. I love talking to my fellow basketball fans. This is not just an NFL channel. We do it all here at Spike Week. Enjoy the season. Enjoy opening night. Congratulations to the Toronto Blue Jays, by the way. I know it's an NBA show, but seriously, what an awesome ride. Appreciate you, Consigliere, and everybody else in the chat. Appreciate you guys joining me. And as I said, have a good luck this season, even if you're hating on Derek White. Good luck this season, and enjoy the games tonight. And I'll talk to you guys later. Cheers.
Woo! Those were some spicy takes. Want to stay up to date with all of the other spicy takes we're going to have over here at Spike Week? Why don't you press that subscribe button below? You turn notifications on, we draft a team, boom, you know about it. We have another spicy take, boom, you know about it. You can be there. You can draft with us. You want to stay up to date? That's how you do it. All right, we'll catch you later next time here at Spike Week.